Hey, what's up? This is MJ. Today I just want to do a quick video, unedited, so give me a break if I stammer over some words. Anyway, somebody in the comments asked me what order should they take the ASE test in. They are thinking about getting into the mechanic field and they wanted to get some certs before they got hired, so make it easier for them to get hired. Anyway, most of you may already know, I already passed almost every ASC. I didn't take light duty diesel, but I passed the other 8 that make you a master tech, and I also passed the L1, advanced engine performance, and I also passed the diesel engines one. Anyway, to answer your question real quick, this is what I would do. First, I would take the G1, the automotive maintenance and light repair. They didn't have that back when I was a tech, so I never took it, but probably not going to be too hard. I would take that one first by itself. Go ahead and buy the study guides. That'll get you into that'll just help you to practice taking the test. You'll see what it's like taking them. You have to go to this, you sign up on their website for ASE, and then you find a testing area near you. They're called like Prometrics. They have other people taking other types of tests there. They got like real estate tests, all different type of tests, and they are not playing. They have cameras everywhere. You have to empty your pockets before you go in there, so don't you even think about cheating, because you're going to be in big trouble. They're going to call the police, have you arrested. But yeah, you don't need to cheat if you study. So go ahead and study for that G1, get that one. That'll help you get your first job. After that, I would take the brakes ASC. Most people take brakes and suspension first, okay? So take brakes and suspension next. People usually take those together. Brakes is going to be your most important field of study. This person was talking about being a mechanic for a little while and then maybe starting a mobile mechanic business. For mobile mechanic businesses, I would recommend doing brakes a lot, because that is considered gravy. It's usually easy and charge a lot, so you get the people who have money. So you're not going to be cutting rotors. Just go ahead and order brand new pads and rotors if you're doing brakes. So yeah, focus on brakes if I were you. Suspension is also good to know, even though you're not going to do too much of that as a mobile mechanic, because you can't do alignments in the field. I mean, you could, but it's probably going to be terrible. You need an alignment rack with all your little lasers hooked up. So yeah, suspension is going to be good for when you're working at Pet Boys, though, or a Pet Boys type place, because you're going to be doing tie rods and things like that, which will require an alignment. Next, after brakes and suspension, I would take electrical. Electrical is so important to today's mechanic. Oh my gosh. If you don't know electrical, I don't even really consider you a good mechanic, because everything is electrical now. You got to test sensors. You got to look for shorts, make sure grounds are good, check electrical stuff, alternator, check batteries, all type of different things. So yeah, electrical, focus on that. If the study guides are not enough for you, and maybe, I know I said in the past, just get the study guides, but maybe I'm looking at it wrong, because I have already been to school for this stuff. If you haven't been to school, you might want to get the study guide and go on Amazon and get the actual textbooks that we used in school. I would get the Today's Technician brand. They're not sponsoring me. There are no links, but that is what I would get. That's the brand that we used in community college. Don't get the UTI textbooks that they wrote up. That's just another way for them to get money out of people. Oh my gosh, those textbooks. I wouldn't buy a gum from UTI or Lincoln Tech, let alone a textbook. So yeah, get the Today's Technician. Get real good at electrical. Even if you're not doing it, a lot of that in mobile mechanic work, you need that as a modern day mechanic. After electrical, engine performance. Go ahead and get engine performance. That is the next biggest thing that you are going to need as a mechanic. You need to know they're going to be asking you questions about what causes lean conditions, what causes rich conditions. You know how when I took it, there were maybe a couple things on how to test sensors. Testing sensors is usually easy. It's usually just a resistance test, but sometimes they want you to use a digital storage oscilloscope, which is just I'll talk about that with you later. But anyway, engine performance. After that, I would take engine repair, even though at Pet Boys and even at dealerships, a lot of people are not even doing engine repairs anymore like they used to. They got a lot of questions in this test that you may never actually have to do in real life. But, well, some of them, like as far as valve lapping and things like that, you're not going to be doing any adjustments. You're not going to be cutting valves in any dealership or Pet Boys. Most thing you're going to do there at Pet Boys, you might do a head gasket, and that is probably about it. At Pet Boys for engine repair, or even at the dealership, the most engine repair I ever did at a dealership was putting a block in and then putting a head on a block because the engine was damaged beyond repair. So I just had to put the top it on to the bottom of the engine, basically, with a head gasket in between. That's going to be about all you're going to do. You're not going to be replacing rings. You're not going to be doing anything like that. What they do is in dealerships now, they do drop and swap, which means nobody's rebuilding engines, nobody's rebuilding transmissions. If you diagnose an engine or a transmission problem, you're usually going to get a new engine and put that in. Most you'll have to do is put the head on the block. For transmissions too, Honda, at least it was drop and swap. And if there are dealerships that are rebuilding transmissions out there, they usually got one guy in there, and that's all he does because he's a master at it. Because they're not going to risk, you doing a transmission or engine and you mess up one little part or torque one thing wrong, and then they got to do the whole thing again. So they have places that just rebuild engines, and that's all they do. So they get good at it. So anyway, yeah, engine repair only for the diagnostic purposes. They're going to teach you about how to do compression tests, what is a leak down test. There may be some different diagnoses with vacuum. So yeah, engine repair is next. After that, heating and air conditioning. Probably the heating is more important. For air conditioning, unless you live in a place that's real hot, like I don't know, Florida or Arizona or some parts of California, you're not going to be doing a lot of air conditioning. And let's say, for example, when I was in Philly, right, anybody that's coming to a Pet Boys type place, if it's a big ticket AC situation where they got to replace the compressor and this and that, it's going to be a lot of money, and they're just going to be like, oh, forget it. It's only going to be hot 3 months out of the year. I'm just going to fill it up with Freon, and if it runs out, it runs out. And then if you're at a dealership, a lot of times those things don't even break when you're under warranty anyway. So you're not going to see it that much at the dealership either. But heating stuff you will see. So take heating and air conditioning. And then next I would take automatic trans. Again, you're not going to be rebuilding any automatic transmissions. I rebuilt one automatic trans, and that was in tech school. And then when I was at Chrysler, I rebuilt them a whole bunch of times, but I didn't like working there, so I quit after 2 months. But anyway, yeah, auto trans, you're not going to be doing any rebuilding in the field. And you're definitely not going to be doing that as a mobile mechanic. So auto mechanic just for the auto trans just for the information. You'll figure out like why things are. You'll be able to tell if something is slipping. They're going to get into their different pressure tests that you can do to see exactly what is wrong in the automatic transmission. And, you could take that if it's just for the knowledge. You're probably not ever going to use it. And then next is manual transmission. Yeah, manual transmission is, in my opinion, a dead technology. Like less than 15% of cars even sold are manual transmissions, and most of them are sports cars. And a lot of times those type of people, they're not even really driving that car every day, so they really don't get them serviced at the dealership that much. I mean, the most you'll have to do is maybe a clutch at the dealership if somebody burns it up, but even that's not even that hard, because if you could take out an auto trans, you can remove a manual trans from a car. They have different little device, like little cradles that are set up for each type of manual trans at a dealership. So, somebody will show you how to do it, and then you'll be able to do it. The most thing I ever had to do for manual trans was at Honda when I had to do a third gear replacement on a Civic Si. And even then, like, you had to take the manual trans out and take it apart and take the third gear apart, and then put the new third gear in. but it's not really that hard. You just got to take your time, and they have procedures in the computer to tell you what steps to do. But anyway, manual trans will help you to diagnose bad clutches. And yeah, you might do some master and slave cylinder replacements. You just got to make sure to bleed them down, and they're not really that hard. So yeah, manual transmission last. And there's a couple good diagnostic things in there too for drive shafts and how to diagnose wheel bearings properly. So yeah, that's good. Even though you're not gonna use it that much as a mobile mechanic, you may use that at Pep Boys or a dealership if you get a job there. And then last would be light duty diesel. They didn't used to have this one, so I'm not sure if you need A9 to be a master tech anymore. If you do need it, then yeah, you might as well go ahead and study and take it if you want the title of master tech. Now, this is the last thing I want to talk about real quick. Okay, so you're learning all this stuff, right? But in my opinion, you're not really a master tech. Like, I don't really think nobody is a master technician. To me, master technician is analogous to being a general practitioner doctor. Like, the doctor where you go, oh, I got a sore throat or I got a rash, they're good at that type of stuff. But if you go to your general practitioner doctor and you got some weird problem like, oh, I get dizzy sometimes and then, or, I feel my heart is beating wrong once in a while. Like, the general practitioner doctor is going to run a couple tests. They're going to say, oh, that looks a little bit weird. Let me send you to a person that specializes in brain injuries, or let me send you to a cardiologist who specializes in hearts, because nobody has the time to become a specialist in everything. It's very similar to when you're a mechanic. If you're working at Pep Boys, some things are going to come in. Oh, my brakes are bad. Oh, my car's not driving straight. Oh, my check engine light on. I got a misfire. But for really hard stuff, like, if it's a really hard transmission problem that's intermittent and it's on a brand that you're not very familiar with, like if some BMW comes in there with a 10-speed transmission and it's intermittently slipping, like, you are not going to fix that at Pep Boys. They are not even going to they're not even going to let you touch it. They're going to tell you to send it to the dealership, to the people that specialize in that. But when you're there, you could take it on a test drive and you could see if, oh, well, yeah, that is slipping. Yeah, let me send you to the dealership. So nobody's going to be able to be a master at everything, okay? So you learn all this stuff. You're getting general knowledge, and you're really learning what jobs you should and shouldn't do and where you are as far as competency. So you're not going to touch the things that you're not competent in, and nobody's competent in everything. Like, even me, like, there's some repairs I'm not going to do. This guy wanted me to do to put in the new differential in his like 6-year-old Mercedes. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And he thought I was going to do it. He told my friend, he's like, yeah, I'll pay him enough, he'll do it. I was like, I'm not doing it, because there's probably a lot of procedures that you have to have from Mercedes. There may be some initialization things that you need to use the scan tool for, and I don't even have access to all that information. And plus, I don't have a lift, so I wouldn't do it either way. So yeah, becoming a master mechanic is, in my opinion, similar to being a general practitioner doctor. And one other analogy I want to do, I know the person that asked me this, they are trying to learn everything before you become a mechanic, and that's good. That's definitely good. But just let me give you an analogy, right? So in Philly, I used to box, right? And they had when you first go in, the trainer, they start training you. They show you the different techniques, how to throw a punch, how to block a punch, how to hit the punching bag, how to do the jump rope, and you train and you start getting in shape, right? Like, that's what you're doing now. But at a certain point, like, you have got to get in there and start sparring people. You've got to get in there and start actually boxing. And because if you don't do that, all this training is going to be worthless. Like, they used to call them bag queens. Like, these guys are really good at punching the punching bag, but when they go into the ring, like, they're not any good. So I want you to, once you start learning the system, like, let's say you learn a lot about brakes and you get confident, I would say start doing repairs on your own car. Okay, get the factory service manual so you have all your torque specs, and you got to start actually doing these things because we're doing all this stuff to become a master. It's really just to get jobs, bro. Like this is just to be on your resume to get jobs because the guys who have been doing it for 10 to 15 years, they're always going to be better than you, no matter how many certs you have. So you got to get your certs. Absolutely. They teach you best practices, diagnostic techniques, and you will be better for taking these tests. But you have to get in here and actually start fixing cars. Okay. Get in the ring and start fighting. And you're going to see, there's many things that happen that are not in these books, and you're going to have to figure them out one thing at a time. And the only thing that's going to help you is experience. But yeah, get your certs, get strong, get hired, and actually start doing repairs, and you're going to be super fantastic. You're going to be fine and dandy just like sour candy. All right. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and have a good one.